here's how to make a variable contour toolpath or a multi-axis curve point toolpath. This is going to be very similar to the standard 3D curve point toolpath, but we can give it that multi-axis ability. This can be used in a 4-axis, 5-axis, 4-axis simultaneous, or 5-axis simultaneous mode. What we'll do is create an operation, and we'll stick with our 3/4 end mill. In the mill multi-axis type, we're going to go over to variable contour. We'll say OK. Now in here, what we will do is we'll cut around this chamfer here. So we can specify a cut area, and that will be this chamfer. In the instance of not wanting to surface this from the z-axis, we can cut this with the bottom of an end mill by staying normal to the faces. We have our faces selected for our cut area. Now, in this curve point method here, we'll go to Edit on the wrench, expand our list, and then we're going to select these curves here. You'll want to make sure that you select them in the order at which you want to cut, whether it's climb or conventional. If you select them wrong, you can use this reverse to change the direction of the curve. Once you have that selected, we can say OK. Now, you'll want, in our instance, we're going to keep our projection vector as tool axis. We want the toolpath, or NX, to look at the vector that it needs to put the tool on based on the tool axis. Now, the tool axis is going to be under our cutting parameters. And here, where you see tool axis, we have this set to be normal to the part. This is exactly what we're going to want to do in this instance, since we want the bottom of the tool to be normal to this chamfer as it cuts around. So we'll leave that to normal to part. Here in multi-depths, you can choose to add stock here, and then what increment you want to cut. For example, if there was 1/2 inch of material on here, I could cut it in 100,000ths increments. But for our example, we do not have anything. So we can actually turn multi-depths off. Here is to check our tool. Here's to check our engage and retract. And that is about all you're going to use inside of this toolpath to accomplish this. We can say OK to make our toolpath, and then we can generate. Here you can see that we now have a toolpath that comes in normal to our chamfer and is going to cut just around this chamfer. Now when we get to here, you'll notice it's going to do a big tilt like that. If that's what happens when you use that tool axis normal to part. So depending on the travel limits or the type of machine that you're in, that may not be an option for you. You may have to break this up into 4 separate angles. So if I play, you'll see that it just stays normal and tilts itself all the way around that line. If for some reason the tool that you were using was not wider than the flat that you're cutting, you can go into the toolpath just like in the 3D version, select Edit here, go to your drive settings, and then offset the tool positively to go left or negatively to go right to be cutting the entire chamfer with the flat of the end mill. That is really all you need to know about using the multi-axis curve point variable contour options.